We need to talk about a food safety crisis that's been quietly escalating since June. And hey, look around. Where's our health secretary when you need him? Oh, right, he's probably filming another shirtless workout video or explaining how seed oils cause migraines and hemorrhoids. Well, federal health authorities are warning people to immediately throw away certain ready to eat pasta dishes from both Trader Joe's and Walmart after confirming they're connected to a listeria outbreak that has spread to about 15 states. The outbreak has killed 4 people, hospitalized 19 others, and caused a pregnant woman to lose her baby. Now, I know the Make America Healthy Again nut jobs are sitting there scoffing at their screens right now, going, Jovan, our glorious leader and poster boy for physical fitness, RFK Jr., has to be on top of this. Well, not exactly. See, a deadly bacteria has been spreading through our food supply for months, and RFK is still going on about how raw milk is a superfood. The USDA issued an alert about 2 specific products: market side linguine with beef meatballs from Walmart, and Trader Joe's Cajun style blackened chicken breast fettuccine Alfredo. Which, side note, I know their listeria is a bad thing, but they look delicious. Now, both having expiration dates in late September and early October. The pasta in these meals tested positive for Listeria monocytogenes, the same strain that triggered recalls of chicken fettuccine Alfredo products back in June. The culprit in the Listeria outbreak is Nate's Fine Foods. Now, be careful, as there could be more affected products out there. Federal agencies are telling people to monitor for updates because additional recalls might be necessary. But sure, RFK, tell us more about how fluoride in the water is the real threat. Not the Listeria, not the 4 dead Americans, and definitely not the pregnant woman who lost her baby. No, it's the vaccines and fluoride we should all be so worried about. Now, if you get Listeria, you might experience fever, muscle pain, digestive issues, a stiff neck, confusion, or trouble with balance. Symptoms typically show up within 2 weeks of eating bad food, but could happen as quickly as the same day or take up to 10 weeks. So if you bought these products, toss them immediately. Clean everything they touched and contact your doctor if you develop symptoms. This is what actual public health should be about. It's not clickbaity titles like does Tylenol cause autism? It doesn't, by the way. But about informing the American public about real and credible dangers to their health through safe food monitoring and a nationwide reporting system. You know, the kind of work that happens when you staff health agencies with qualified professionals instead of wellness influencers who think raw bear liver is fine, but pasteurization is tyranny. Enjoy these health tests and warnings while you still can, because they may not be around forever. Speaking of staffing issues, over 150,000 federal employees just left their jobs this week in what's being called the largest mass resignation in American history. Let me repeat that. The largest mass resignation in American history. And no, I am not talking about the government shutdown. We will get to that later. This is something entirely different. Tuesday marked the official end date for workers who took Trump's fork in the road buyout, a program that let them resign while getting paid through September 30th. The Trump administration modeled this directly on what Elon Musk did when he bought Twitter, and we all remember how well that turned out, right? Now, here's what should terrify every American. When you factor in layoffs, additional buyouts, early retirements, and regular turnover, the federal government is on track to lose roughly 275,000 to 300,000 workers by the end of this year. That would be the largest single-year workforce reduction since World War II. And notice, traditional media coverage on this is all but non-existent. You got a few articles here and there, maybe a brief mention on cable news between segments about whatever culture war nonsense they're pushing this week, but no real deep dive. You want to know who these 150,000 people actually are? Well, they're people like Stephanie. Man, I'm going to say this wrong. Forgive me if I ever say a name about anybody on this show. Forgive me. Stephanie Cherkow. Cherkowy. Stephanie Cherkowy. I'm going to go with that. Who managed training for the 9,000 employees at the USDA's Food Safety and Inspection Service. You know, the folks who make sure your pre-cooked pasta dishes don't contain listeria. She's applied to hundreds of jobs since April and gotten maybe a handful of interviews. The Washington, D.C. area job market is completely flooded with qualified former federal workers who can't find employment. Or there's Jay, a transportation department data analyst who studied crash statistics, road quality, and bridge safety. He took the buyout after Doge terminated his office lease and Trump issued orders suggesting his job might be relocated from Midwest to DC. Turns out, his office lease got restored, his team wasn't moved, and the threats that pushed him out never materialized. And now he regrets leaving because his new private sector job isn't nearly as fulfilling, and he gave up those sweet, sweet federal benefits for nothing. Then there's Marie at the Energy Department, who got fired in February as part of Trump's purge of probationary workers, got temporarily reinstated by a court, then took the buyout because she feared getting fired again. Her agency never ended up conducting those mass layoffs everyone feared. She gave up her dream of working on national energy policy based on threats that never came to pass. Do you see the pattern here? The Trump administration created an environment of fear and chaos, made threats about relocations and mass firings, pressured people into taking this deal, and then many of those threats never materialized. Back in January, the administration predicted 5 to 10% of the workforce would take the deal. They got 6.7. And how did they get there? Through intimidation, confusion, and manufactured crisis. Oh, and here's another fun detail that, basically got zero coverage. Some agencies mistakenly fired probationary employees who had actually accepted the fork deal. Workers at the Education Department, Small Business Administration, USDA, FEMA, and Forest Service took the resignation offer, then got fired anyway. Some agencies had to scramble to reinstate people after realizing their mistake, including workers in nuclear safety roles. Nuclear safety roles. They fired people handling nuclear safety by mistake. And this barely made headlines. And now, add the government shutdown to the list, which we will talk about later in the show. We have Republicans blaming Democrats for not passing a clean funding bill, but convenient timing, right? Mass exodus of federal workers followed immediately by a shutdown. Hey, nothing suspicious there, you know? 150,000 workers, many of whom now regret their decision, many of whom were essentially coerced through fear and misinformation, many of whom, had those fears turn out to be completely unfounded, they are gone. And most Americans have no idea this even happened. So when your food takes longer to get inspected, when your Social Security claims sit in limbo, and when veteran services slow to a crawl, when bridges don't get safety inspected, remember this moment. Remember when the largest mass resignation in American history happened and the media barely covered it.